Today, I'm going to fix some art. Let's jump into it. So first, this is from a public Discord art server. It's full of beginner artworks, and that's exactly what I'm aiming for in this video. So first, we have this pretty artwork by Manny. He's asking for suggestion on how to improve the hairlines, eyes, and other proportions. He said he didn't color it quickly, and asked for tips on that too. First things first, isn't digital line art. It's a traditional sketch with some added color. So naturally it's going to be harder for him to get everything super clean as a beginner. First thing I noticed the head. The overall proportions feel a bit off. The space between the eyes is too wide, and the chin placement needs adjusting. Using the liquify tool, I'm gently shifting things to make the proportions feel right, but without changing his drawing style. Just a small tweaks, the chin, the ear position, things like that. Then I moved on to the shoulder. I widened it a bit to feel more balanced. Next, I darkened the outline to give more contrast and make it pop. Added some eyelashes for extra detail. For the lips, here is a quick tip. In real life, lips don't have hard black outlines, so instead of using a pure black line, try using color to shape the lips. It will look much softer and more natural. For the shading, instead of just making big harsh lines, try simple hatching like this. Think of how you would shade with a pencil on paper. Same goes for the hair. Instead of black outlines, try mixing in tones closer to the hair color itself. And here is the before and after. Not a huge change, but honestly, it makes a big difference. Next, we have Satria. He wrote, I have been stuck for years, studied shapes, values, color theory, but I still don't know what I'm doing wrong. Here is my latest piece, my biggest issue, inconsistency in art style. Honestly, super relatable. A lot of artists hit that phase where they know the theory. They have watched tutorials, done practice, but somehow the final result still feels off. So let's break this down. I picked one of his pieces that caught my eye. I saw some really strong potential in it. First thing I noticed, the face proportion. The chin was too long, and the lower half of the face felt stretched. So I jumped in with the liquify tool again, shortened the chin, adjusted the jawline. Next, the neck. It was too wide and too long for the head size, so I brought it in, made it thinner, and added some shading under the chin to create more separation and depth. So I liquefied the face a bit more, fixed the position of the ear and the chin, and also adjusted the hairline. Yeah, the hairline needed some correction too. I worked more on the hair position, give it better shape, and fixed the back of the hair too. Then came the t-shirt. As you can see, I started adding some line art just to figure out exactly where the t-shirt should be, and also to bring out more details on the face. Removed the rest of the t-shirt and fixed the overall pose. And then I moved on to the skin tones. The original looked very flat, just one uniform color. So I added some subtle color variation, a bit more pinkish warmth on the cheeks, a cooler shadow under the jawline, and a slight gradient on the forehead and nose to create volume. For the eyebrows and eyes, I darkened the lines, gave the eyebrows more shape and presence, and added a little more depth in the eyes with some simple gradients. I also gave the lips a bit of color, nothing too much, just enough to feel alive. Then onto the hair. It felt as a single shape with no detail, so I added loose strands and broke up the silhouette to make it feel softer. For the shadows, I used multiple layers and a rectangle brush. It doesn't have to be a rectangle, just any brush with hard edges to create the sharp shadows. Here, I didn't have a reference, so I kept it pretty, let's say, normal, like it just catching some irregular shadows on his face. Then, using an even darker color, I shaded the areas with deeper shadows to add more contrast. But I was careful not to lose the soft light skin tone he had originally. After adding the shadows, I realized it got darker than I wanted. So I opened the curve tool, lifted the highlights back, and balanced it all again. As for the final touches, I started adding more highlights to the hair using a regular circle brush, then blended with a hard brush to create a hair strand effect. After that, I used a softer brush to deepen the shadows in areas that needed it, like under the hair, under the jaw, and so on. To make everything pop more, I used an add layer and added highlights to the lighter areas. Then I did some final tweaks, like using liquify. And here is the before and after. Not a dramatic change, but the structure and colors feel way more alive now. Now moving on to the next piece. She said, or he, I don't know. First time coloring hair. Not sure I did it right. Any tips? First of all, that's a great first attempt. Coloring hair is one of those things where you might think it's just filling in colors, but actually it's all about volume, flow, and light placement. So, starting within the head proportions, I made some light adjustment to the overall head shape. Nothing major, just enough to balance it out. Now for the hair highlights, a common beginner habit. Drawing really small, thin strands as highlights, but that makes the hair look messy and over detailed. So instead, I grabbed a larger brush and blocked out bigger highlight shapes. This gives the illusion of shine and volume without overcomplicating it. Also, I introduced color variation within the highlights, using different shades from the same base hair color. This helps create depth and realism. But here is the biggest issue. She completely forgot to bend the back part of the hair. It looked like the character's hair was being pulled tightly from behind. There was no volume in the back. So I sketched in the missing back layers, added flowy strands, and reconnected the hairline from front to back. This small change made the whole head feel more way natural and complete. Here is the before and after. Not a huge over things, but visually a big improvement. Finally, we have this one. He said, I don't know how lighting works. Lighting, honestly, one of the hardest things for artists at any level. First thing I noticed, he is going for a rim lighting, where the light source comes from behind the character. Problem is, there is just not enough contrast for the light to stand out. So I opened the curves tool, darkened the shadows, lifted the highlights. Instantly, the light source started to feel more believable. I noticed he had picked the red for the rim light, so I switched it to a richer, stronger hue. I painted the rim light only where it should hit, paying close attention to the nearest folds and to the hair as well. I didn't add new shapes. I simply laid the light over what was already drawn. With a soft brush, I gently feathered the edges to enhance the effect. Then used the hard edges blending tool to merge the highlight into the clothes and make it feel more natural. Next, the face lighting. Honestly, I couldn't fully read the light direction on the face, so I improvised. I added a blue fill light from below to complement the red backlight. Using opposite colors like blue and red gives great contrast and mood. Then I added shadows on the neck and jaw. I used softer brushes to blend the shadows without losing the main values from his original art. And here is the before and after. Again, not a complete redraw, just refining the concept. And that's for it for today. I will be sending the video to all the artists I featured here. Hopefully it helps them see their work in a new way. And if you're still here watching till this point, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like and leave a comment telling me which artwork was your favorite. And if you want to improve your art, don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next one.